Another round of applause for our guest of honor. We can just rise as he comes to the stage. We can all rise as he comes to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Another round of applause. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Please, you may be seated. How are you? Are you having a good afternoon? To begin with, I would just love to congratulate Matthews. Matthews, we are proud of the works that you're doing. We are proud of the wonderful pursuits that you're undertaking. And we are proud of the 2 books that you have written today. Let us give him a round of applause for the 2 books that you are launching today. And to everyone who's come through to support, the panelists, I can still see, the radical farmer, Mr. Mujindu, for coming in, my brother, David Mwambazi, Mr. Harrison, and indeed everyone who found time to be here. And for everyone who's taken time to attend this event, let us give ourselves a round of applause. So, in the short address that I have for us this afternoon, I've just decided to pick lessons from Matthew's books. So I've decided to pick 3 lessons, and I would encourage you, as we are putting these books up for donation, I would encourage you to grab a copy for yourself. Grab a copy for yourself, and your life will indeed be impacted positively. I truly encourage you, before you leave, see to it that you grab a copy. So there are 2 books that are here. The first one is You Can Never Be Careful Enough, and the other one is Pursuing the Unbeatable Pursuit. So from the first book, which is You Can Never Be Careful Enough, I'll challenge you to go to chapter 4, and that is where my lesson is. And chapter 4 says, Providence activated to meet your fall. Now, there are certain situations where you face failure. You face a fall. And unknown to you, during that period of your failure, you may not know that there is providence that has already been prepared for you. Let me give an example. I had the first business loss, for those that know my story. In South Africa, 2010, 12th March, at Park Station, Johannesburg. I was robbed at knife point, and guys got all the money that I had. It was a painful period, but unknown to me, that led to the end of me going out to import clothes and gadgets from South Africa because the capital was gone. But because I had no other business to engage in, it forced me to a large extent to come in and partner with 2 other friends, and we formed the first company that I have ever been part of, called Glad Tidings Software Limited. It's a software company. And it is through that company that gave me the breakthrough. For those that know my story, it is through that company that we made so much money, and I was then able to buy, trucks, as some of you may know my story. Now, what led me to be part of that software company was because I had lost the business of going out to buy clothes. Looking backwards, if I continued with the business of going out to import stuff, I highly doubt if I would have achieved the things that I later got to achieve. Are we together up to there? There's yet another loss that I faced. The farming season, 2012-2013 farming season, where a crate of tomatoes dropped from 150 kwacha to 7 kwacha. Total loss. That led me out of farming. The interesting part is this. After moving out of farming, after making that massive loss from farming, I concentrated more in the software business. And interestingly, within a month, 50 days, a month to 2 months, we had a serious breakthrough in the software business, and exactly 50 days from that loss, my life turned around entirely. But at the point when I was facing that tomato loss, I couldn't understand it. I couldn't fathom how I was going to rise again. But little did I know that God had provided the way out. That loss was to prepare me for the next level. So fast forward, had a breakthrough in that software business, bought my first truck, moved into Volvo FS12s. I'm a transporter, doing very good contracts. We are ferrying maize from Siavonga to Kafue with my newly added 30-ton truck. All is on point, all is great, I'm a happening guy. This newly added truck is involved in an accident. And unfortunately, it was not insured. It was like, no, let us do the first 2 trips as we balance out financially. It again got to be a total loss. Very painful experience, which actually led to the closure of my transport business. Very painful experience, but here's something interesting. It is from that loss that I then got to create what is known as DLN technologies today. And I'll not hide from saying this just for the sake of inspiration. The tech business is what has grown for most of you that are in universities. Almost all universities in Zambia, we are the ones that have supplied you with the PVC card printers. So all the IDs that are produced that side, we are the ones behind that. And for those of you that have driving licenses, I'll not hide this. These are public things. We are the ones that design and manufacture driving licenses in Zambia. For those of you that fly, we are the ones that supply the radios that communicate with the pilots. Now, this is the tech company that was formed after a loss in the transport business. What am I putting across? At the point of the loss, I did not understand what this was preparing me for. But looking backwards, I can even smile and say, I'm so glad that I faced that loss. Had I not faced that loss, I would have not had the opportunity of creating something bigger and a lot better. In 2019, for those of you that know the story, I was transferring money to a company in the United States. Little did I know that our emails were compromised. They sent another email saying, no, we have changed the account details, and these are the account details, but everything seemed the same. And unfortunately, we sent $19,996 to a wrong account. In the process, we lost 40,000 kwacha, which is which is about 800,000 kwacha now. Cash, just like that. It was a painful loss, but the interesting part is this. A couple of months later, when we are now sending money to France, a similar thing happened to say, we have changed account details and this is what. Now, because I had made a loss, I then knew what some of these scammers get to do. And we survived a loss that would have wiped our business out. What am I putting across? Some of the losses that we face are preparing us for better. Some of the downsides that we could have faced in our undertakings, we may never know. Maybe it is God communicating something. But here's where the challenge tends to be sometimes. When we face the losses we face, we get stuck in those losses. And we don't look at life with a positive outlook. As a result, we remain longer in the dungeon. And I would want to encourage you, you may not understand. Sometimes you may be dumped by someone. In that moment, you may not fully understand the situation. But you may never know. Maybe God is preparing you for someone better. And this is the chapter that is in the book. You can never be careful enough. And this is chapter 4. I would encourage you to read this book. And the chapter is Providence Activated to Meet Your Fall. And getting to the other book, Pursuing the Unbeatable Pursuit, I would invite you to chapter 3. Very interesting thing. Develop your power of individuality. Now, here's something that I would wish to encourage us. Everyone has a unique DNA. You are a special gift to this world. Your individuality will position you for greatness. Sometimes we tend to think other people are better positioned than ourselves. No, that one is coming from a better family. No, that one has great looks. No, that one speaks well. No, that one... We sometimes look down upon ourselves and not realizing that your individuality is what will position you for greatness in this life. In fact, even certain things that look disadvantageous at face value, you may never know. They may be positioning you for greatness. Your individuality is key. Embrace it, embrace yourself, embrace your circumstances, because it is those circumstances unknown to you that may position you for greatness. I give an example. I come from the village, very poor background. And if you listened to Mr. Oli, and you guys are doing a fantastic job, he said something interesting. Do you know why sometimes people would sit and listen to me? More often than not, it is because they can relate with my story of coming from a very poor background. Now imagine if my father was the former president of Zambia. So let us take, for instance, President Chiluba was my father, and I was born in State House. And let us assume I have achieved the same things that I've achieved today. Would you wish to listen to me talk to you about life? You may not. Because your thinking is that, no, we can't, because you were born privileged. Your father was the president. Ministers are a phone call away. You had these privileges. But listen, coming from the village, embracing it, and coming out, even when I stand to speak, I use that individuality to position me greatly. When I stand to speak, I say, you see, I come from the poor background. In fact, we are so poor, such that the poor called us poor. And you find invitations across Africa. Why? Because I have embraced my individuality. Here's a challenge to you. Each and every one of us has unique circumstances. Don't look at the circumstances of others. Embrace your circumstances. Celebrate your circumstances. And see how you can position yourself for greatness. And that is one interesting lesson that I got from chapter 3 of pursuing the unbeatable pursuit. Then the final lesson, which I'll share this afternoon, is chapter 6 in the book Pursuing the Unbeatable Pursuit. And chapter 6 is Born to be the Solution. I would want to challenge all of us, as I close it here, that this world has been waiting for a time such as this when you'll be alive. Don't be one who just complains about how things are in this life. Be one who position yourself and say, I'm the solution that this world has been waiting for. I'm the solution that this country has been waiting for. Listen, people who've achieved exceptional things in this life were ordinary people just like yourself and myself, flesh and blood. And I'll go further to indicate this. I have interacted with people at the bottom. Coming from a poor background, from the village and whatnot, I interact with those people who are at the bottom. I'm not yet at the top, but I can tell you, and some of you may know, that I am equally connected to people who are at the top. The ministers and whatnot. Some of you may know the stories. I've had many ministers visit my office, many CEOs visit my office, and some of the top tier CEOs are my personal friends. So I have interacted with people at the bottom and people who've achieved exceptional things at the top. And I'll tell you this for a fact. The people at the top are not very different from people at the bottom. It is only that people at the top believed in themselves. And they believed that I am here for a reason. they believe in themselves, and because of that, they find themselves achieving exceptional things. Not necessarily that they are extremely different. No, it is because they believe. And I can even challenge you. You could have even seen certain people or interacted with people where this person is a member of parliament, or maybe he's a minister. This person is at the top in terms of hierarchy, that is at the top. You listen to this minister, you listen to this member of parliament, you listen to this CEO. Have you ever been in a situation where you start asking yourself, but how did this one get there? But how? You can't even understand, but the person is at the top. And you listen to how they articulate issues, you can't even understand how they rose to the top. But they are there. Do you know why they are there? They believed that they can be there. And indeed, they are there. So, what am I putting across? And also, on the other end, you've seen people who are very smart, academically smart, articulate and whatnot, but the things they achieve in this life are just at the bottom. Sometimes it is for a simple reason. They have not just applied themselves and believed that they can do exceptional things. And I'll speak on my behalf, and I'll say this. Listen. I am not exceptionally intelligent than an average Zambian. Now listen to this. One thing that is outstanding about myself is one thing. I am a dreamer. Just a dreamer. And me as a dreamer, I believe the world is lucky to have me. Now, I'm saying how I think. The world is lucky to have me. And I'm here. In fact, even when I sleep, and this is the truth, when I sleep, and I even think, if I was to die today, what will become of Africa? How will Africa survive? Now, listen, I am a dreamer. Not exceptional, but just a dreamer. And I go after things that are deemed impossible, just as a dreamer. Example, and I want you to pick this. It does not mean that when you dream, you will then achieve what you are dreaming about. But the interesting thing is this. When you dream here, when you fail to achieve that, where you land where people who do not dream will never land. Let me explain. One time, I stood and said, no, listen, I would want to have a conference at the stadium, because you can relate with this. You know, I've had a conference at Mulungushi. Mulungushi was full, and the hopist was the master of ceremony. Things were great. I'm like, no, I want to have it at the stadium. They said, you can't have a conference at the stadium. Where are people going to sit when you have a conference at the stadium? They said, no, they'll sit where they sit when watching soccer. They said, no, it is impossible. People won't come. It can't just happen. Even the elite, the people I was looking up to, said the same thing. It is impossible. But listen, for me, I am a dreamer. And I said, I want to give it a shot. 2021, decided to go to the stadium. Over 10,000 people showed up, and numbers kept growing. As we go to 2024, we had 37,000. You see that? Now, listen to this. My dream, I've had the conferences at the stadium for 5 years. My dream is to fill up the stadium with 60,000 people. But here's the reality. 5 times I have done it, I have failed to fill up the stadium. I have failed. Every year when you're having the event, my target is to fill it up. But I have failed 5 times consecutively, failing. But here's something interesting. 2024, we had about 37,000 people. Failed to reach the 60,000 target. But the interesting thing is that With a 37,000 number, it was the biggest gathering of entrepreneurs ever in Zambia. It was the biggest gathering of entrepreneurs ever in Africa. It was the biggest gathering of entrepreneurs in 2024 in the entire world. But I failed to reach the 60,000. But where I landed, no one did it in the entire world. What am I putting across? Allow yourself to dream. Give yourself the grace to dream. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from today's presentation from myself, allow yourself to dream again. Allow yourself to do that. And one time, as an entrepreneur, when I started out in my early 20s, I made a decision that I would want to retire at 35. I'd want to retire and I just want to impact lives. And I even made the decision that at 35, I want to build my retirement home and get out of the CEO position and maybe remain with the positions of chairman. That was the target. As I was getting in my 35th birthday, I decided, and there was even a podcast. I said, no, I want to do my house, one of the biggest houses in Zambia. I want to do it in 6 months. Now listen, when I was saying that, I believed I can do it. Money may not have been there. I believed that I could do it in 6 months. That was the target. Got down to start building the house. Now, because the design, also, even when doing the design, I wanted to do something that has never been done. I said, I want to do, number one, the first, because the biggest houses in Zambia are double-story houses. Level 1, level 2. State house, 1, 2. Community house, 1, 2. I said, why are they always ending at 2? I said, for me, I want to do the first 4-story house. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then on one side of the house, I want on the 3rd story, I want to have the helipad. There's no house with a helipad. Oh, for those of you that may not really know, a helipad is where, on top of the house, when God blesses with a helicopter, you can land on top of the house. So you just land on top of the house and you just go under and you're in your bedroom. That was my dream. I said, it has never been done. And I said 6 months. We got on the ground. The engineer said, no, there's so much work to be done. Now listen, this is now 12 plus 1 month. That is 13 months. Here's the truth. I have failed to finish the house in 6 months. But here's the thing. This is level 1. Done. Level 2. Done. Level 3. We are decking to get into the 4th level. I have failed, but where I am, no Zambian has reached. Are you getting me? Where I have landed, no Zambian has what? Reached. What am I putting across? Allow yourself to dream. Nothing extremely special. I am just a dreamer. Some of you have great dreams that you can achieve in your lifetime, but you've dwarfed yourselves. You feel you are a nobody. And I would want to challenge you. You are somebody. You won when you had so little. You won when you had nothing. Remember, this is just science. My very good elder. This man was actually my lecturer. Before you were born, before you were conceived. In fact, before you were in your mother's womb, the time you were still with your father. The time you came out from your father, you were 100 million of you who came out at the same time. 100 million of you. And out of the 100 million that came, scientists have indicated time and again that the journey up to fertilize is a very difficult journey. It is a very difficult journey. And scientists have agreed that it is difficult because it is nature's way to see to it that the strongest, the fastest, and the most persevering gets to be the one to fertilize. Now, out of the 100 million, guess which one managed to fertilize? You. Now, here's something interesting. You won the race when you had no eyes. You had no hands. You had no legs. In fact, you were left in darkness. You could not see. But today, you have the light. You can see. You have eyes. You can see. You have hands. You have legs. You have a brain. What makes you think you are a nobody? And what makes you think that others are somebody, not yourself? I would wish to challenge you as you leave this place. Have a rethink at yourself. What sort of impact do you want to leave in this world? The people that have left a legacy in this world were people just like yourself and myself. And I say, congratulations, Matthews, for being a dreamer. May God bless you all.